Hey guys, so it's me, Nicolette Mashila. I'm really excited to be bringing you this video again. Today, I want to talk about the debt review process. I know you've missed me, but I'm back. By the way, remember that anything that I say on this specific video does not constitute as financial help. But if you are looking for any financial help or advice, please speak to somebody who is certified and registered with the FSCA. And in this regard, because it's debt help, anybody that is registered as a debt counselor with the NCR. I'm so excited though, just to bring you guys up to speed. I have passed my debt counseling course, got my certificate. In actual fact, your girl got 95%. So next year I will be registering my debt counseling business and I'm going to be assisting everybody. But the beauty of what I'm going to be doing next year is that I'm not going to wait until you are over indebted. If you feel like you are kind of strangling or choking is the right word. If you feel like you are choking on your dates, I'm going to be your go-to guy. No, I can't be a guy. I'm your come-to girl. I'm your makelwane that's going to help you with your dates. But that's a story for next year. Again, just to keep you guys up to date, the game is out. Save or Spend is finally out. It's available for purchase. It's going to be for purchase on our e-commerce, from I think the 11th of January, but on Take a Lot, it is available and it's going to be at exclusive books from mid-January. So do go out and get it. Oh, by the way, I'm going to be doing my face because, I gotta do everything at the same time because, most time is, even during the holidays, struggle. So I'm going to be using my Avon ANEW Ultimate Day Cream, and then of course the Protinal shorts that I absolutely love. So as I said, I'm going to be talking a little bit about debt review today, right? But what is debt review? I think first and foremost, it is very important for us to clear out what debt review is. Debt review is not debt cancellation. What do I mean when I say this? I mean that when you go under debt review, your debt is not going to automatically get cancelled. It's actually a process that you have to work through for you to be able to get through your debt. So you're going to pay off your debt. Generally, what they do is once you've paid off your short-term debt, this includes your car loan, by the way, because I know that for most people, a car loan is not classified as short-term debt. It's classified as long-term debt. Long-term debt, also because it's classified as secured debt. But when it comes to debt review, you also have to pay off your car loan. One of the ones that you don't have to actually settle is your home loan. However, if it is something that you want to also settle, of course, you have all the right to settle it. But let's talk a little bit about the debt review process. How do you go through the debt review process? The first thing you need to understand is you yourself cannot apply for the debt review process. You by yourself, you can't apply for the debt review process. You have to go through a debt counselor. Now, the first thing you need to make sure then that you do is to get a registered debt counselor. Where are debt counselors registered with, or who is actually regulating debt counselors is the National Credit Regulator. In South Africa, it's the National Credit Regulator. Every single debt counselor that is registered will have a debt counseling number. So they've got a registration number, and you can actually go on the ncr.org.za and check if your debt counselor is a registered debt counselor. You can also check if there are any complaints against them, if there are any pending court judgments against them, because remember, their responsibility is to ensure that they work within your interests. Because after all, you are over indebted. You are not trying to get somebody who's going to scam you out of the money that you're supposed to be paying off your debts. Right. Now, in South Africa, debt review is also called debt counseling. So it's people use all these different terms for it. But basically, it's to make sure that we put you in a freeze frame so that you can pay off the debt that you currently have at a pace in which you are able to manage it. That's basically what debt review is, right? So the first step your debt counselor is going to do is they're going to issue you with a Form 16. form number 16. Form number 16 is simply you inputting all your personal information, everything that the debt counselor needs to know, and it is your intention to go into debt counseling. So you're telling the counselor that, listen, I feel like I'm over indebted and I'd like to go through the debt counseling process. At this stage, the debt counselor must explain to you what the process actually is and what it looks like and what it actually means for your credit profile. Because I think a lot of people don't understand that the debt counseling or debt review process will mean that it will go on your credit report. Now, many people ask me this question, Nicolette, will it have an effect on my credit score? Yes. The short answer is yes. The long answer is yes. However, it's a good thing if you are over indebted. Why wouldn't you want to clear out your debt, right? It's a short term. What is it? What do the youngsters say? Drip is temporary. What is forever? Or what is temporary? Drip is forever. In this case, a good mental health, debt-free mental health is forever, but a no access to credit is temporary. Whatever. Anyway, so right. Now you will fill in Form 16. Once you have filled in Form 16, the debt counselor will then issue Form 17.1 to all your creditors to get a credit of balance or something like that, a balance of all your accounts. So this will include all your Boma Edgar C, Boma Russell C, Boma Netbank, FNB. Now whoever you owe that's a creditor will need to issue the debt counselor with a balance of how much it is that you actually owe, right? I'm putting on the Ultimate, the Avon ANEW Ultimate, and it's got protinol. By the way, protinol is a patented ingredient by Avon. They have patented it, and basically it restores collagen 1 and collagen 3. Those are the two collagens that you need to be able to restore your skin to baby skin. Have you ever felt baby skin? Yes, it feels so amazing. That's exactly where we want your dates to get to, where it feels like baby skin. So right now the debt review process is using you and your money and the debt counselor to restore your credit status. Maybe something like that. Yes, basically. All right. So Form 17.1 is to tell your creditors that they want a balance, right? Now, once this is done, the debt counselor also needs to inform the National Credit Regulator, there's a database there, that you have applied for debt review. Now, while all this is happening, you are still able to actually withdraw from this process if you feel that this is not the right process for you. Remember, one of the things that I said, maybe I didn't say it, is that this is a legislated process. So once you actually go and lodge this in court, at the magistrate's court, it will become a legal process, because once that happens, your creditors are going to be informed that they cannot now come after you if they have agreed to a specific payment period. But also it means that to future creditors, as long as you are still in the debt review process, you may not access any further credit. And I know that a lot of people are like, yeah, but what if? No. Remember, when you commit to the debt review process, you are basically saying, I want to get rid of the situation that I'm currently in before I even get myself into another situation. So technically what is going to happen is that it will go on your credit report. So when a creditor actually assesses your affordability and your credit risk, they will be able to see on your credit report that you are currently under debt review, which then means that they cannot grant you any access to credit. It's a good thing. Trust me, it is a good thing. It is temporary. Okay? It is temporary. A good mental health that is debt-free is forever. Or good debt management mental health is forever. You'd rather be in that boat than be in the boat where you are always feeling stressed because of equality. South Africa, the statistics show that the debt-to-income ratio in this country is way too high. We need to bring it down. Although it has been improving somewhat over the years, because of lockdown and COVID this year, I think the numbers are going to look a little bit more differently than it was. Also because, remember, they lowered the interest rates, so most people were able to pick up fairly affordable or cheaper debt or credit, or whatever it is that you want to call it. So then the next thing that is going to happen is that the debt counselor has to take you through the debt or the over indebtedness calculations to determine whether you really are over in debt. Remember, if you are over in debt, that's when you can actually go into the debt review process. There are instances where people can feel overwhelmed by their debt, but they are not necessarily over indebted. And if you are not over indebted, you will not be allowed to go through the debt review process. So you have to, according to a calculation, be over indebted for you to be able to access the debt review process. Once that has been done and you have been declared by the debt counselor as over indebted, there is a form 17.2 that then gets issued to your creditors to say that you are over indebted. We need to now put together a debt repayment plan. So in other words, the debt counselor needs to go to your creditors, tell them you're over indebted, and say to them, okay, Miss Mashile can only pay so much every single month because she's going through the debt review process. Are you happy with the debt repayment? And most of the creditors, they kind of will agree to it because they would rather get something out of you than get nothing out of you. So in actual fact, it is to their interest, I may put it, to make sure that they assist you in actually servicing your debt. Now, all of them have to agree to a specific debt repayment process. If half of them agree and the other half doesn't agree, it's not going to work like that. The debt counselor has to go back to the drawing board and ensure that it actually gets to a point where all of your debt creditors actually agree. The debt counselor can then lodge this either in the tribunal or the the National Credit Tribunal or at a magistrate court. Oh, by the way, it's not the National Credit Tribunal, as I had mentioned. It is the National Consumer Tribunal. All right, so what generally will happen is that there will be an order of consent or consent order. I can't really remember what it is. You know, my brain doesn't work very well in the morning. So basically, all your creditors will agree to a repayment plan. Sometimes the interest rate of these repayment plan can go as low as 2% to 1%. And this is basically to ensure that you are able to actually commit to the repayments that they've been put out to you, right? Now, once that is done, then you start repaying your creditors. Now, no money goes to the debt counselor. You do not pay to the debt counselor. You pay either directly to the creditor or you pay to a payments distribution agency. Then the payments distribution agency will pay your creditors. It is important to understand the terms and conditions of the payments distribution agency if you are going to be using the payments distribution agency, which is called a PDA. Because some of them, what they do is that they pay every 3 months. Some of them will pay every month. However, you need to know so that you get a better understanding so that one day you don't wake up, log into your debt or your credit account and realize that there's no money that is being paid over to your creditors only because it is the second month where the the PDA will only pay in the third month. And then you get frustrated and you want to withdraw from the debt review process. So it's important for you to make sure that you understand the terms and conditions of when the PDA is actually going to pay over your monies to the actual creditor. And once you start paying your creditors, you carry on paying as per the prepayment plan that your debt counselor negotiated with your creditors. And really, guys, that is the debt review process. That is literally what actually happens. The two things that you must remember, very important, is that all debt review process fees are actually regulated. So the debt counselor cannot charge you whatever it is that they want to charge you. The fees are regulated by the National Credit Act, and they will be able to tell you there how much your debt counselor can charge you. The second thing you've got to remember is that it is a legal process. So once you are in it, you have to stay in it. Any type of default means that you are getting yourself out of the debt review process, and you no longer will enjoy the benefit of the protection by the court of you not getting harassed by your creditors, and also your money is not going into arrears and actually accumulating more interest that was stipulated in the original credit agreement versus the now done repayment plan. So it's important for you to stick to what the plan actually says up until you have cleared all your debt, especially your short-term debt. And only then, when you can prove that you have paid everything off, will your debt counselor then issue you with a certificate of clearance. But we'll talk a little bit about the process of withdrawing, staying in, and actually, how do you manage to stay in the debt review process once you are actually in it up until you get your certificate of clearance? How do you exit the debt review process if you maybe have an unscrupulous debt counselor? We'll talk all about that in the next video. So I'll see you guys on the next one. Remember, nothing I say here is financial advice. If you are looking for financial advice, please speak to somebody who is certified and registered with the FSCA. I love you guys, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Perhaps maybe I'll have makeup. I'm so lazy to put on makeup. Also, what's this? Honestly.